Hey, beautiful mama. Welcome to the Radiant Mom Rising podcast, where we believe you were never meant to just survive. You were born to shine. I'm your host, Mary Dibble, life coach, mom of three, and your biggest cheerleader in creating a life and business you love. Each week, we dive into real conversations about mindset, motherhood, healing, and purpose, helping you break free from overwhelm, rediscover your worth, and rise into the confident, radiant woman you were meant to be. Because when moms rise, the world rises with us. So grab your coffee, take a deep breath, and let's get ready to rise together. Hello and welcome back. I'm excited to introduce Miss Megan today. Megan, thank you so much for joining us. How's it going?
Well, no one's called me Miss Megan since my great aunt.
Oh,
Like,
sorry.
I love it.
Oh, again, back in that old school feel. Well, let's get started. I'm so excited to tap into our conversation today. Why don't you take a moment, introduce yourself, and tell us a little bit about what you do?
Sure. My name's Megan Swann. I'm a wellness strategist. I work with female founders primarily or entrepreneurs who are scaling their company while also, moving through motherhood, whether that's trying to conceive, pregnant, postpartum, mothering, all the things. And I'm a bit of a nervous system nerd. That's kind of like one of the main tools that I work with. And that I've founded a company with my partner, life partner, and he's the medical hat. We can talk about that, but the company's called Altavita, and it's a medical wellness tourism company. We take small groups from Canada and the US to Chiapas, Mexico for advanced diagnostics and a wellness nature immersion experience. And what else? I'm a mom of two boys, and I lived in Mexico for 15 years, and I now am in Calgary, Alberta.
I love that. That sounds amazing. And I want to get into your story. Tell us a little bit about your own journey that led you to become a nervous system, nerd, like you said.
Yeah. Well, so the first thing, I guess, I mean, where to start? I've written my memoir actually goes into the nitty-gritty of my journey, the 15 years in Mexico. The book's called Marinating in Chaos, and it talks about my journey from, really deciding to choose me. I left Toronto at 30 years old and went on my own eat, pray, love, Latin style, if you will. My
Yeah.
plan was to spend a year in Mexico, either teaching yoga or English or some combination, and then head to Bali and then see kind of like where the universe took me. But, joke was on me because I spent 15 years on my first stop in Mexico and met my now life partner, husband, co-founder, and yeah, ended up building an entire life there. And the book is really part memoir, part like guide for the woman who really wants to get healthy for good. My philosophy on wellness and the nervous system nerd part. I can go through my own process of kind of certification itis, if you will. I started off getting certifications as a coach, like 10 years ago plus now. And I have 9 different certifications at this point, but I think the sort of real evolution and sort of where the industry is moving is in terms of supporting people with nervous system regulation and integrated hypnosis to help them reprogram, not only for years I was working on the mindset piece, which is of course crucial to understand like
Yeah.
everything that your mind is telling you, you have control in
Yes.
sort of rewriting that narrative.
Yeah.
But on the nervous system level and the subconscious, there still might be these stories kind of like,
Living.
underwriting.
Hmm.
And so if you can then work on a subconscious level as well, it becomes that much more powerful. And the women I coach are usually, have quite intense lives, whether motherhood in itself combined with entrepreneurship, the two, I think it's like this beautiful blend. There's actually a lot of crossover skill in both worlds, but at the same time, it really is kind of in on multiple fronts. You're kind of playing outside the box, and therefore you have to have like rock solid vision and mentality around like what you're doing so that you're not constantly kind of feeling the shame and judgment, I guess, that
So many
quote
people.
unquote status quo society might want you to
Yeah.
feel.
Absolutely. I mean, as a mom, especially like you say, as an entrepreneur, and a mom, that's a lot. And it's so funny. We just don't realize how much we are such bosses. We don't give ourselves enough credit. We don't realize like the skill sets that are already developed. And I feel like there is a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure that we put on ourselves as women. And so it's beautiful to hear, how you can help others in that way. Because for me, in my own journey, it was finding a coach that changed everything for me. It's like getting that experience and building that awareness around the fact that I was creating the very struggle that I didn't want. Like was
Mhm.
eye-opening for me, and especially seeing that I had the power to change it. And so tell us a little bit about like when you were going through like the like getting certified, going through the coaching and all that, were you a mom then, or did that happen within that mix? I didn't know how old your kids are.
Yeah, no. So I taught yoga. Sorry,
Okay.
I taught English. That's
Yeah.
how I met my now partner. He was a private English student of mine, which is another
Oh.
story. And it's also in the book. Um, but then I owned and operated yoga studios in this town in Mexico, and that's kind of where I thought I would be going. Then I
Mm-hmm.
became a mother of two, and it was kind of back to back. So I was like
Ah,
pregnant, breastfeeding. And then, as most moms with young children, like never really getting back to my own quality of sleep and kind of just resigning myself, oh, this is motherhood is like living on empty and all these things that, and I was also still drinking back then.
yeah.
So that's like a big piece. We can go into it as much or as little as you
Yes.
want, but
Mm-hmm.
I think it is the core. Um, kind of messaging that a lot of women are getting, like your solution is like having a glass of wine at the end of the day when, probably not the best solution, but
Yeah.
it was clear to me that no, it wasn't clear to me. One of my private clients was actually getting her own certification and she was looking for, guinea pig clients. And I honestly thought like I know as much as this person does in terms of all the things she may or may not teach me, but I'm like more than willing to support her in getting practice coaching, right?
Yeah.
And no, she like really helped me install a morning routine, which at that point I thought she was crazy. Like, she was young, newly married, didn't have children. She's like, the solution to all of your not like getting your problems is getting up earlier. And I'm like, no, but I'm not sleeping. Like, I can't get up earlier. But it was life changing just to have at that time, it was just like 10 minutes a day, like to
Mm-hmm.
myself.
Yeah.
And I think those with young children understand like
Yeah.
sometimes it's just, that whole Facebook girl about like all I want to do is pee alone. Like
Yeah.
it's so taxing, even though it's not hard. Like some other things are hard. It is
Yeah.
just like the constant interruptions and feeling like no time is just yours, or like you have to be even effective with your free time.
Mm.
It's just so like the compound effect, it really it drains you over time. And I think for, a lot of women, they like lose their sense of self
Yeah.
and not sleeping does not help with that, right? So
God, no.
for me, it was that kind of like first little transformation. And then I quickly signed up to do the same certification she was doing. And then it kind of like
Wow. Yeah. I love that.
snowballed from there. And I think that's what happens for a lot of women that get into the coaching, just see like that sort of micro transformation where it's like, oh, it doesn't have to be like that. Like,
Yeah.
of course, I can find this giant community online
Yeah.
that says it has to be like that and like kind of just wallows in that victim mentality and creates like
Yes.
humor around it. And in the case of like, mommy wine culture, it's like
Yeah.
there's you can always find your people that like want to sit in the muck with you.
Yeah.
But there's other people over here that'll like sit in the muck, but then also be like, yeah, but like now what?
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Let's get elevated. Like, yes, they'll elevate you, and I think that's powerful because, that whole saying, I never really took it serious, I guess, when they would talk about, who you surround yourself, you'll eventually become. But it's like I get it. The more and more as I gotten older, and I've seen the journey, and I've seen the type of friends that I've lost, and even family that through my
mhm.
journey of choosing differently, of trying to become a better version of myself, and it's like I understand the power of that. And I love that, that is so powerful for you to even bring that up. It's like even just taking that moment of just like thinking about like who am I surrounding myself with? Who am like what kind of like language am I allowing in my world? Not just the way you talk to yourself, too, especially the way you talk to yourself, because Lord knows we can all work on that, right, mamas? Because I don't know about you, but I mean, that was one of the biggest things was the way I talk to myself. And especially as a mom now, like that's the last thing I want is my children to see me dissing myself, putting myself down, being negative, because I know now, especially that I did some inner child healing and remembered certain things that my mom would say that led into certain beliefs that I picked up. It's very powerful in recognizing the language alone and how our self-talk is, the people around us. Like a lot of people mean you no harm. They're just projecting their own beliefs, their own limitations onto you. But at the same time, you have to also set those boundaries or be really mindful of like, do you need that in your circle at the moment when you're trying to be on this other level that they don't believe is possible for you? Yeah. So I don't know how that was experienced for you on your journey, but
Yeah, well, I mean, I
also,
would just add another layer there. Like,
yeah.
I think particularly for moms and for
Hmm.
women, it's almost easier to practice this more in your parenting before you
Hmm.
maybe practice it on yourself.
Yeah.
But just this notion, like to me, it really hit hard when you understand like your child's inner dialogue is like the tone of that dialogue is like you as a mother, like how you're talking to them, right? And so if you're being hypercritical and like nothing's ever good enough, like that's what you're programming in. And so it's, I think, a nice place to start if it's not yeah, it's harder for you to go inward first. Just practicing like what you're saying out loud to other people, I think becomes like a powerful
Yeah.
tool to really be like, and wow. And I think the easiest one for internal dialogue is, what would I say to my best friend if she was coming at me with this same, like you would lift her up, you
Yeah.
would like maybe give us a little tough love,
Yeah.
but ultimately you would spin it in a way that she would feel better and not feel rejected, like not
Yeah.
good enough, like all the things that we tend to default as women. And the hyper criticism, I think, is also like, the patriarchy essentially. Like women are socialized to be super conscious of how everybody else sees them and that they're not
Yeah.
taking up too much space and like the people pleasing, all of that,
Yeah.
which, gets trained in on a nervous system level,
Hmm.
how you react to conflict and how opposed, and all these things in the long term are things that you can reprogram. But the first step is just having a little bit more self-awareness of what you're actually doing at the moment.
Yeah. True. Very powerful and true. And would you be willing to share like a simple nervous system regulation practice, maybe that has worked very well for you, that you find that you helps a lot of your clients? Because I know a lot of moms listening, that's a big part of what I love teaching and sharing and want to incorporate because I believe that in order to become who we want to be, it takes practice. Like that's a big part of what I teach. So I'd love to hear, if you don't mind to share, a simple practice that's something that they could just take away from this episode right now and implement for themselves.
Yeah, well, I mean, the simple, but I mean, it
Yeah.
depends on whether you like to dance. But I mean,
Okay.
dance is like
Ah,
across cultures, across history.
yeah.
There's like so many things that are built into culture that we're kind of like getting increasingly disconnected from. One being,
What's
the
that?
gathering around the fires, which is like connecting with people, rehashing your day, the singing and the dancing that would happen in that there's a lot of processing that's going along around in that kind of environment. And now we tend to not have that space, right? Like, so, hopefully you have a friend or two that you might call. You have someone
Yes.
in your immediate group that you can like talk through your day, especially for women. Like talking is very cathartic. It really
Yes.
increases your oxytocin and like helps you process what's going on.
Hmm.
And so it's important that you have that person that's just going to be a
Yeah.
listening ear and mirror opposed to like immediately giving you their input, right?
Hmm.
But back to dance, I switched, like dancing as a high functioning alcoholic, dancing on like bar tops to dancing on Instagram. But I mean, It's
I
like
love it.
90 seconds is all you need. So like one song and just have like a song that is your go-to for the week. I love creating playlists. So it's like Hot Girl Summer playlist is my current. Um, and
Yes.
that's like a great tool, especially as moms, like something you can
Mhm.
do with your kids, like in the moment where it's just getting
Yes.
like you need a moment, but
Yeah.
you can't get that moment. So like let's just have a little dance break. And as an entrepreneur, also like when I need to make a big decision or like something feels overwhelming, that movement in your body, the rhythm, probably you're going to start breathing a little bit heavier. All of that goes along with, and they're all micro nervous system regulation tools that,
Yeah.
we used to kind of tap into more on a daily basis just based on the culture. And now it's like you have to seek them out.
Yeah. And what I want to point out with that too is that we always tend to overcomplicate things. And I think so many women just expect that it has to be so hard. Like all this work transformation has got to be this big, huge thing. And it's like, no, no, it's actually the most transformation you get are the simple little choices you make, the little returns that you do, the little steps, the baby steps that you take, build and build and builds upon and creates all of it. And a lot of times it can be so simple. But because we're just so like expecting everything that's supposed to be worth it, like we're taught, oh, it takes hard work to get what you want. And we're, we have these like inner beliefs that it just has to be harder than it is. And don't get me wrong, it's not like all of it's easy peasy either. Like, this is why I believe in the support in the community because I know for me, if it wasn't for me having those people, like you say, especially the consistency, I've met people that have been part of my journey for moments. And it was so great. And then I would miss them when they're gone. But at the same time, I get that life, life happens and, or there's certain programs end. And so it's like, for me, I was so when I reflected back on what meant the most, it was the people that I was consistent with, that I always knew I had this space to show up to at any time, no matter where I'm at on my journey. And I can either watch other people get supported or I could show up and be supported myself. And it was magical. And it's really what inspired me to create what I created. But I do find that to be quite powerful. And I also want to reflect when you were talking about the fire. Something came up for me that I just want to share because we recently went on a trip to my husband's childhood home. We go to it every year. People who's followed me, I go to Rich Hill once a year with our family. My son is about to go to college, so by the time this episode releases, he'll be at college. I'm still like that's when I
Empty nesting,
yes, literally like
processing.
he leaves Thursday, so I'm not even I don't even want to go there. But anyways, we went on this trip because we were like, we got to do it one more time. It's his favorite place to go. There's no internet. It's literally in the mountains, nothing around. It is out there. It's beautiful. And one of our favorite things though is to be outside. And when we first got there, it was like a tropical storm was coming. It was raining. It was cold. And my initial, like me and my mom were upset. We were like, no, like our favorite thing to do here is to be outside. The grass hadn't been cut. It was super high. It was like everything that like could have gone wrong kind of was. But what I'm proud of is that like we allowed ourselves to have the moment of venting about it. But we also were like, because of the work that I've been doing, I'm like, okay, but we got to find the like, what is this here to teach us? How can we make the best of it? How can we make, just make it our own? And of all the things, for the first time we've ever been there, somebody had started a little fire pit in the backyard where we usually hang out. And so we were like, what if we build a fire? Girl, let me tell you, we became obsessed with it. We had fires every night, and it ended up becoming the best experience. My mom's never been to a campfire or a bonfire before. I didn't even know that about her. And she's from Trinidad. Like, you would think an island girl or whatever has had some kind of experience with that.
Yeah,
But
it'd be something.
yeah, but even my kids, it was their first experience around a fire, and we ended up like just laughing, enjoying it. I remember just moments of just watching the flames and just feeling. So it just took me back when you were talking about how we've gotten away from old traditions that were so
Well, and
powerful.
the fire specifically is
Yeah,
actually very fascinating
yeah,
because it is extremely calming to your nervous system to just stare. Like, why do humans like to stare at fire? Well, because it's absolutely never the same, right? It's like constantly shape shifting, and there's never the same
yeah.
view. And I think like I just to me it goes back to child like I used to go to camps and there would be like song around the fire. So even though
Mhm.
you're maybe not singing with your friends or family,
Yeah,
although you can,
yeah.
It just like the crackling, and sometimes, it's like a
Yeah.
good place for conversation. And then like the sort of the teamwork to like keep the fire alive. I don't know. There's just like a
Oh
lot there
yes.
going
Oh yeah,
on.
we had so much fun going and getting the sticks and cutting them up and throwing them in there and then oh my God, we had so much. But there you go. I mean, it's like that's what it's about. Like it's something, it's just like you say, putting on that music and dancing with your kids. I even with exercise, I know that's a hard one. Lord knows I've struggled with that one myself for many, many years of getting that on that schedule. And also I used to see the interruption, I guess you could say, of the kids jumping on you, messing with you as a reason why not to
Yeah.
do it. Yes, but at the same time, I love it. It took me having a guest on here one time who switched that, she changed the narrative of that perspective and story about the beauty of like letting them be involved, letting them watch you, doing it messy, having them on your back. So what, using them and things like that, and how, as they've grown up with her, it ended up like next thing they know, they're at like an airport waiting, and their kids are like, let's do jumping jacks, let's do exercises. Like they're doing, you're
Yeah.
instilling
My
that
my
into them.
teenager is a gym rat now, and it's like
Ah,
I'm so proud.
I know, I love
Like,
that.
because he
Yes.
saw his parents working out every day, right? Like, so it's just
Yeah. It's
second
a
nature.
it is. It is. And it's beautiful. Like that's why we do what we do, because we want to help raise our children to believe in themselves, to believe what is possible, to be strong and to take care of themselves too, because Lord knows that's not always easy to get them to understand. I mean, it's so easy when we're young too, right? Like you say with the drinking. What was that like? Because that is a journey that I hope to eventually go on for myself, like quitting the drinking. What was that like? What came up in your life that even brought you to making that decision for yourself? If you don't mind to share that.
Yeah, I'll answer that.
Yeah.
I'll just say one last thing about the
Yes.
dancing,
Oh
like
yeah.
little tip is if it's too hard to like just break out and dance in your living room,
Hmm.
putting a little music on as you're getting ready, like putting on makeup and like kind of like softening the energy around that. Again, like it doesn't take more time to do it with
Yeah.
music on, and like, maybe you're kind
Yeah.
of moving to the music, you're not like
Yeah.
full out crazy dancing
Yeah.
or in the car. But anyway,
I love that.
yeah, I mean, I would say ditching alcohol is, like a massive lever. And yeah, I wish I'd done it sooner. So I did it at 8 years ago. I'm 47 this year. So 39. I quit at 39. There's probably, at least 2 decades where I was what the industry might call a high functioning alcoholic,
Mhm.
meaning you would have to know me pretty well or be around me a lot to think that I had any sort of issue. I had
Mhm.
hit it really well, and like I think there's also the term gray area drinking, like you don't clinically have a problem, but is it helping you? Probably not. And then we can go into the layer of health, but
Yeah.
the experience is the catalyst for me was I mentioned like I had that sort of natural window of pregnant breastfeeding. So it was like
Yeah.
4 years there where I didn't drink because, you don't drink in those windows of
Yes.
motherhood. And so I was around a lot of people that were drinking. Like I was still carrying on my
Yeah.
somewhat same social life and seeing things a little bit different, being the sober one in all these situations all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And also, I think like women's bodies, our hormones change. So it maybe not doesn't hit you quite the same way after a child, after breastfeeding, after any sort of hormonal shift, after any sort of age as well. And so I reflected on that as I was getting back into drinking post all those things. And
Mhm.
I think at the end of the day, like for me, I had clarity for a good decade before. Like maybe it wasn't conscious clarity, but I was just so sick of the shame spiral the next morning. It wasn't all the time, but
Yeah.
inevitably at some event, and I would like not remember like the last 2 hours of the event, or
Yeah.
I would like kind of remember what I said, but not maybe word for word, and would always have a trusted friend who would like give me the play by play of what, and it was never just didn't feel good. And then as a mother, like and I grew up with that, right, too. So there's that layer. So I just knew that I didn't want to be in a situation where my child had come to me in the evening and had a heart to heart and I didn't remember the next day,
Yeah.
or they'd come and I just didn't have the presence of mind to be there for whatever they
Yeah.
needed.
Get that.
So initially, really the catalyst was my interest in being the best mom I could.
Yeah.
I'd say now it's more for me, but
Yes.
and I will also say, I didn't do, there's lots of ways to get sober these days. Like there's never been
Mhm.
an easier time, I'd say. Like you don't have to go to church basements or like that whole route. Nothing against that route, but I knew like I would have never gone that route for many reasons.
Yeah.
I'm what they call like a spontaneous sobriety story, meaning like I just decided I kind of like found community after.
Nice.
And in the moment I switched running for drinking. So I like started training for half marathons and that's a kind of like a common thing actually. A lot of people in the marathon, half marathon running world, or even like those intense race worlds, they're like former addicts of something less
Oh,
healthy. Um,
yeah.
and yeah, I mean, I just, what was the compound effect after many years of getting sober that I didn't anticipate is how it held me back. It like kept if my confidence is
Yeah.
now at a 10, it kept me at like a 6 my whole life.
Yeah.
Because
I can see
partly
that.
because I would feel bad about what I did and like that whole narrative. But it just kept me thinking like I wasn't as capable as I now know I am.
Yeah, that's powerful. I mean, congratulations. I think so. I struggled with drug addiction as a teen, so it's like overcoming that early in life was huge. And the same thing with me. It's like I did get help um in a way that I didn't expect because I was not a church person either.
Mhm.
And I was kind of forced in a situation where I was like, "Ugh, well, I need a place to stay because I was kind of homeless and it ended up changing my life and getting me clean. But then even after that, I fell again because I got surrounded with wrong people again. And that's what happens too.
Mhm.
And it
Yeah.
was even harder because I had to live with it. But then I had my son when I was 20, turned 21 a year later, or 21 a month later, sorry. And it changed everything for me. Like, I mean, I even quit cigarettes, like, and it was cold turkey. So it was like, I know it's possible.
Yeah, it's
And,
amazing the clarity that comes with like, oh my goodness, I'm in charge of like another human being's well-being, not
yeah,
just my own. I mean, I didn't even really get into wellness
yeah,
until I got pregnant. Like I was in the yoga world,
hmm
but I was still like drinking way too much red wine. Like I think it's
yeah.
like alcohol is this kind of like the pink elephant in the wellness space, like it's usually the last thing most women in particular consider that like might be part of the problem.
Yes, yes, and I'll agree.
Um,
I'll agree to that because that's the one thing that's been the consistent other thing that like I, struggle with. So it's like I get it. And, it's like you think you're having fun or whatever, but it's like at the end of the day, it's like you're right. And guess what? I'm 39, so I feel like this is like an aligned conversation that I need to have right now. Can I just say, because I like to be real. We all are on our own different journeys, and it's like that's what I love about it. Like it's about being real. It's about growing. It's about allowing yourself to evolve and step into that new version of yourself. One of my mentors, she's I think 40, I think I want to say she's 43 and she just recently quit alcohol and her just hearing her story of like how much she's changed, how it's growing and I can see the evolution in her. She was already a boss as it is of what she does, but even like seeing her step into this whole nother version that she's been working towards, like especially seeing her from the beginning. I think that's beautiful, and I want the people that I serve to see me too, like to be like, look, we're doing this together. We're on this journey together, and we're gonna elevate together. And anything I learn and however we grow, you're coming along with me. We're gonna thrive together, kind of situation. Because I do, like you say, I know it's like making a decision for yourself, but the community, the support, that's what helps you stick with it. I feel like, because it's so easy to
oh,
talk
for
ourselves out of
sure.
things when you're on your
Yeah, and
own.
I always clarify, like in my situation, when I decided to quit,
Yeah,
I didn't decide to quit forever. Like I
yeah,
don't think I would have been capable of making that choice. Like
yeah,
I would argue no one's
yeah.
ever capable of
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
deciding that. Like you don't know what life's gonna throw you in 20 years. But
True.
um I decided to quit for a year.
Oh, I
And
like that.
a year before that, I tried mindful drinking, which, I would argue is a bunch of, it's an addict's set of rules, right? Like anytime you're trying to put rules around
Yeah.
non-addiction, that's like
Yeah.
a red flag that you have
Mm-hmm.
a complicated relationship with that thing if you need rules.
Mm-hmm.
And so that didn't work. And yeah, so then within 3 months of quitting, I knew I would never go back. But
Hmm.
I don't think I would have been capable
Yeah.
at that moment of
Yeah.
saying like, oh, I'm giving it up forever. It was like, no, I'm going to try this as an experiment.
I
No
like that.
alcohol for a year. Let's see how it goes. And like, you don't have to put a year on it, but
Yeah.
I think getting that information for yourself of like what's it
Yeah.
actually like. And I mean, if it's that hard for you to give it up for 3 months, then you probably need like other support,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, true. And
if
don't
it's
be afraid of
more than
that.
just like a decision for
Yeah.
yourself. And
Oh yeah.
of course, it's easy if you like put yourself in a program and you find yourself community around other women that are doing that. But honestly, like I said, maybe it's because I'm in those bubbles, but
Hmm.
like big alcohol is down 230 billion. Like the last two generations do not drink like we drank growing up. They do not drink.
Yeah.
And there's like all the non-alc products exploding. Like there's all these wellness
Oh,
beverages. Like every single restaurant you
yeah.
go to has a non-alc or at very
Yep.
least a low alc. There's like
Yes.
choices pretty much everywhere you go these days. So
Yeah.
it's like a lower lift than it was, let's say, even 10 years ago, but certainly 20 years ago. And again, like finding your aligned people. And in my
Hmm.
world, like most women in entrepreneurship
Yeah.
in the higher echelons, like
Yes.
are don't have time to drink. Like, there may be
Yes.
the
No,
women
we
that have
do.
like the odd glass of wine here and there, but I
Yeah.
used to like plan it into my week that there were like, you know,
Yes, I see. Certain time
you
frames
know,
you're
for
allowed.
6 hours I'm going out to with this, and
Yeah.
it's like I can't even sit at a table for 6 hours anymore. Like I don't know how. The only
Yeah.
way you do that is if you're drinking.
I hear you. I hear you. No, this is so good. So I feel like anyone who's like listening, who's just thinking of like ways that I love that's so smart. I've always said that, break it down. Don't put this huge plan or even with your vision that's in long term. Like we got to start where you are. We got to honor the season that we're in. I think that was something I saw about myself years ago when I first started. It's like I get it now looking back, I see how everyone you want it now. We have that instant gratification, and so it's so easy to get disappointed, to want to give up, to question, am I really cut out for this? Because you're seeing somebody who's been doing it for 10 years. Like, hello,
Mhm.
you just you don't get to see where they were like you when you're just getting started. So it's easy to try to compare or or try so hard to get to that bigger vision before you're ready and instead of understanding that all that you're about to go through is preparing you for it, is going to allow you to be open to receive and get the capacity to receive what your next step is for that to get to that point. So I like that even with that when it comes to facing something that you're struggling with is maybe you want to quit drinking or quit smoking or something like that. Don't make it such a big goal. Like you say, maybe say, okay, I'm gonna quit for a month. I'm gonna quit for the next 3 months and see how I feel. Something
Yeah, or
small like
try the the
yeah, I mean,
mindful rules, like
yeah,
I'm only going to drink 2 days a week. If like whatever your current
yeah,
situation is, make it less. And then like be curious and reflective
love
about,
that.
when is it hard
Hmm.
to not do what I know what like, I thought social situations were going to be the hardest.
Hmm.
And it actually wasn't. Like that was all in my head. Like I thought there was going to be all this pushback from my friends and family. Not once, like not even one,
Yeah.
oh, you must be pregnant joke or something. Nothing, nothing.
That's
To
awesome.
the point where everyone,
Yeah.
it's like, did everyone else know I should have quit drinking like before me? I don't know. But
Probably, but they just, I love it. I love it. That's
yeah,
beautiful.
I mean, to
Yeah.
be totally real, like
Uh-huh.
you're probably going to lose a few friends.
Yeah.
Like if you have friends that are just, you'll see who they are.
Yeah.
But who
Yep.
cannot get on board with like hanging out with you and like you're not both drinking or something. There might be a few of those people in your life. I can certainly say it was true in mine.
Yeah.
But like your true friends don't care
No,
and want
they
what's
don't.
best for you.
Exactly. And honestly, that for me, like letting that go was the best thing I ever did because it did help me to make space for those who were meant to appreciate me, accept me for who I am and who I'm working to become. So it's like that's something that can be triggering, challenging. I get it, but at the same time, really working on changing and helping other people to change that perspective because it ends up being the best thing that could happen to you. You just don't see it because I mean, you feel your feelings. Don't get me wrong. I get it. It does hurt when you have to let go of
Yeah.
something or you
And
realize
I
people
think
distance
it's
yourself.
helpful even to use the frame of, if you're in entrepreneurship, like you're already doing things outside the box. You're
Mm,
already a rebel in that sense.
yes.
And you've probably already seen that there's like certain people that want to talk about entrepreneurship and other people that are like a 9 to 5 corporate person who has no interest or
Yeah.
it's not like they're not going to be your friend, but you need to find these kind of like-minded tribes to support your
Yes.
journey. And I
Yes.
think it's same with any identity you want to shift, any habit.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more because I have had that where I have even mom friends who are just working mom or even stay-at-home moms compared to like an entrepreneur. And it's like there is those levels of people who just kind of understand your journey and nothing wrong with that. I mean, everyone has their own group and I can still have great conversations and great connections with those who are not on an entrepreneur journey. But when it comes to me up leveling my business, of course, I'm going to put myself in a room with more, especially those big time entrepreneurs who are above me, just like I want people who are just getting started to come work with me because that's what I can help them with, especially because so many people that you see, they already have like all these big teams. They've been doing it for so long. So I can understand how that's intimidating. And I want to show people, hey, you can make it happen in your real life, no matter where you're at, no matter how crazy things are going. If I can do it, you can do it. And I'll show you how. Attitude. But I do
Love
love that.
that.
It is because like I feel like we all deserve to like have something for ourselves. We don't do that enough for us as moms. Like we always care so much. Like I was guilty of that. Like I'm the person who will go shopping for my kids before I'll buy like a piece of clothing for myself. And it was my husband who kind of opened my eyes to that. He's like, Mary, you never buy yourself anything. And I'm like, well, I'm good. I don't care as long as my kids like and so it was like even working with the coach through working through that was huge because and right, again, that sets that belief, that conditioning of believing that I'm not worthy or I'm not allowed to do for myself. Girl, that was that was a nice one to
You're
switch.
over that now, right?
Yes, I
Though.
know more. Yes, yes. I mean, it's like I'm learning to receive, and I believe in that so much now than I've ever done in my life. So it's beautiful to like see the things that it's so wonderful to like start seeing your reality slowly catch up to your now. Like when you're really working to
Mm.
change, like that was the hardest thing too. And I want anyone listening, like just know this. Even when you start making these changes, when you start being like, I'm ready and start doing the work, it does not mean your reality is going to match that right away. And that is okay. I mean, because you've worked so long to actually create the reality that you have now, you kind of have to have a little compassion and understanding that it's going to take time to recreate something new, all around you. It just doesn't happen overnight. If it did,
Yeah,
I
and I think that's
think
another
everyone would
reason
do
it's
it.
so important to have that community and support so
Yeah.
that there's somebody else like reflecting back to you your
Yeah.
progress. Because often when we're just trying to do this sort of evolution
Yeah.
in our current environment, you're gonna have the people around you again that like want to keep you exactly where you are because that's how they know you. And you're gonna have the people that are like, like at the end of the day, no one's really paying as much attention to us as we are, right? So you want to see this, you want to feel like there's all this evolution. And I've felt in my experience, both like as a mother, as a leader, as an entrepreneur, it's been other women who have been like, but you, oh my God. And like they say how they view me, and I'll be like, oh, okay. So it is evolving.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's so hard when you're not changing your environment, you're not putting yourself out there enough that you're in these sort of newer ecosystems where you're giving yourself the opportunity to be seen in a different way.
Mm. And that's yep, that's the challenge right there. But that's part of the transformation. It's so wonderful when you get to that point where you can't just do it messy. Just do it. Just do it. But I also, before we get, I know our time's coming up. I would love to hear a little bit too, just real quick about you and your husband, like going into what you created. If you'll just touch on that a little bit about how that came to be and how that's going and how you help others with it.
Yeah, so again, like we've been together for 16 years. At the beginning, he was the, he is a vascular surgeon. So and I'm like the hippie yogi. And so we had very kind of different worldviews on what
Uh-huh.
health and or wellness meant. And that really kind of came into a head when we were birthing babies and had to make decisions on how that was going to be done, which is like a whole other story. But essentially in the last 10 years, I'd say like we both kind of softened into deeply respecting and loving the other's point of view and seeing like what the value is and that the value is actually blending them.
Mhm.
So like the best of medicine really of what we're offering with this is the data, the hospital grade diagnostics, so you
Yeah.
can see what's actually going on in your system. And then pairing that with a 12-month wellness blueprint. Like, what are the things you can do differently in your life to feel better now, but really impact your health span and the trajectory towards your longevity in the long run. And so, yeah, like so that's kind of like the seed origin of the company, and that we like brought
Yeah.
those two things together. Another origin is us as a couple, like it's so much easier to stay healthy if you build it into your couplehood.
Yeah.
I essentially became his coach in the long short. And really, I think most women as like the the householder, so to speak, or the
Yeah.
person that's carrying most of the cognitive load and doing a lot of the planning around meals and all of that. Um, we have a lot more control in theory of like the health of everybody else in that sense. But it's so much easier if like your partner is in line. Like they value that you're both getting good night's sleep. They value that you're eating healthy. Like, yeah, 20% of the time you're doing whatever, but mostly we're eating healthy. So we're all, boosting our immunity and being our best selves and mental clarity and all that. Um, and and then for us, like it had started in the pandemic, like we both kind of had, you know, movement activities, if you will, but we started doing HIIT, like intense
Yeah.
workouts
Yeah.
online together during like it kept us sane, honestly.
Yeah.
And to this day, we try and do those little mini, like
Yeah.
we focus more on strength training or whatever, 10, 20 minutes a day together. And I think like that really those kind of things made us realize how much getting, the entire household is really impacted by the health of the couple, whether that's you're talking about the physical, the mental, the spiritual, the emotional health. And all of that's easier if you're like taking good care of the fundamentals, right?
Yeah.
And so the other piece is basically for 10 years, we were kind of doing what we do with these retreats. When friends and family would come and visit us, we would take them on a similar journey. We'd take them for a coffee or a cacao tasting, and we'd take them to this waterfall, and we'd take them to
Yeah.
these beloved hotels and restaurants.
Yeah.
And then over time, they would be like, well, by the way, can I get an MRI while I'm here? Or can I get all my dental work done while I'm there? Or, in the more extreme examples of my stepfather, can I get my hernia done, operated on while I'm there? And like, so we started programming like all these things into their
Mm.
visit. And then their impression of the Mexican healthcare system, obviously, this is the private system. We work with a private hospital.
Okay.
Um, it was just like kind of unbelievable. I hadn't really been deeply involved in the Canadian system because I was 30 and healthy
Yeah.
and whatever.
Yeah.
And things have changed a lot in 20 years in both
Yeah.
US and Canada in terms of what the healthcare system looks like.
Oh, yeah.
But it was just kind of mind-boggling to me how they're like, oh my goodness, it's like I don't feel rushed, and like I feel like they actually care about me. And it's
Yeah.
like there's so much more spacious, and like just the elements of the care
Yeah.
that's kind of like how this idea started percolating for us. So that then when we decided, we always knew we were going to relocate to Canada when the boys were going into junior high and high school or
Hmm.
middle school by
Yeah.
US terms. Um, and so this is kind of our project to straddle our two worlds, which is Chiapas, Mexico, and the rest of North America, and essentially leverage the medical infrastructure that my husband spent the last decade building up. And
Wow.
um, what also makes our experiences unique is, we feel at home there. We live there, and so
Yeah.
all the things that all the service providers, everyone we work with, we've been working with for a decade, and they're like basically friends at this point, and
Yeah.
we love supporting the local tourism industry as well. And
Yeah.
there's just so much to be enjoyed in Mexico. Whether, I'm obsessed with Mexico. Anywhere you want to go, you want travel advice, I'm your girl. But we focus at this moment on bringing people to Chiapas, which is a
Yeah.
lesser known location.
That's wonderful. That is so amazing. And if anyone's listening and they want to learn more, they want to learn more about this opportunity, if they're able to come that way, or even just about you and working with you as their strategist, like where's the best place that they can find you?
Yeah, so the retreats, we have actually have a women's wellness reset in October, the 14th to
Ooh.
20th. So if that's of interest, you can find everything on our website, which is altavitahealth.ca.
Okay.
And then my website in where you find me on all socials is meganswannwellness.com or on Instagram, on LinkedIn. Um, but yeah, basically you find me and you'll find all the things. And please, send me a DM, introduce yourself. If you have any questions, I'm the one in all those places.
Yes, that's amazing what you're doing. I think it's incredible, and I'm so excited. And I just look forward to you guys expanding and growing that over time, and finding the right people to take care of because our wellness is everything. And I think more and more people, like you say, are just building up the awareness, and they actually care. They're caring more, and I love it. I love being part of it. I love seeing it. I love inspiring people for it. So I always also open the floor. Is there any final piece of advice that you would like to leave with listeners today?
Ooh, well, something I'm super passionate right now. I've started a series called Understudied. I would highly recommend women. There's a book by Carolyn Criado Perez is her name, but the book's called Invisible Women. And it's kind of this basis of this whole series. Again, you can follow me on Instagram and see all the content around this, but there's just so much that the current medical system is often referred to as medical 2.0, right? Because we're now moving towards 3.0 that's a little bit more integrated of functional holistic medicine. But the version that we're all dealing with, really it was built around the average male as being sort of like the default human. And that shows up in so many ways for women in terms of, taking on average 10 years to get diagnosed with endometriosis, with, the way that a heart attack and the risk factors and symptoms of a heart attack show up differently, completely differently in a woman than a
Yeah.
man. Although we've all been taught like how it shows up in a man being universal. And even in things too, like the doses of drugs that we've been given in many cases, Ambien being an example, they
Ooh.
just recently, like it was a 2013 or 16 that the FDA halved the doses that women were getting because it, functions in our system, we process it slower. And so all these women for 20 years is like, but I wake up groggy. And doctors were saying, well, no, it's all in your head. So
Wow.
just
Yeah,
like how
love that.
important it is as
Hmm.
women to like when you're being told it's just stress, it's just age, it's all in your head. Essentially, you're being gaslit in some shape or form by the system. Like, please come talk to me because I can connect you with a ton of resources,
Hmm.
and maybe give you
Yeah,
some different perspective
love
because
that.
it's probably not all in your head. And even if it's stress, even if it's aging, there's like a lot that can be done that maybe your traditional doctor isn't, looking into.
Megan, that is so wonderful of you to share this, to make that awareness for moms if they're listening to come to you and talk to you about, because I know that there's so much more, like you say, information that's just coming to light now. And there's such, yeah, there's a lot that's going on, especially as you get older. Oh my God, the changes that we go through, it's like really knowing what we have control over and what's like not is really important to define and figure out what you can do to make yourself feel better because we deserve to. Mamas, we
Yeah.
deserve to feel better. So definitely, if you're listening, please go out there and find the resources, connect with Megan, ask the questions, do your research, figure that, just know you're not alone. There's so many of us out there with, trying to find our way, trying to find the best solutions, and that is okay. That is okay. And that's why we're here trying to have these conversations and put this stuff out there because there's always a way. Everything's going to work out in your favor. So I want to thank you, Megan, so much again for your time, for being here and everything you shared. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And if all else fails, dance.
Yes, dance. I love a dance party, girl. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe below, follow along, and always leave a comment. Tell me what was your favorite takeaway. What are some things that are coming up for you through these conversations? I really love to hear from my listeners and know that I'm always here for you. If anyone listening is ready to take action and really follow through and implement the goals that you set out for, as well as work on that mindset and really step into your full potential and the CEO of your life, then I invite you, schedule your free 1 hour limitless mom strategy call with me while they're available. And let's explore where you are, where you want to be, and how we can bridge that gap together. I can't thank you all enough for tuning in each week. Always remember, until next time,
keep rising, keep shining, and can keep believing in everything that is available for you, Mama. You are worthy, you deserve it, and I'm so grateful to be walking this journey alongside you. Much love.